Here on Tennessee Crossroads, we take a lot of journeys across the state in search of new interesting stories. Well, Ken Wilshire's most recent journey led him to Memphis. That's where an artist lives who's on a journey of her own of sorts, one that leads to some adventures in painting.
Many artists say their works are all part of a journey full of anticipation with few, if any, planned destinations.
So this inspires your art as well?
Oh, absolutely. It's the texture, the light on the plants.
Memphis artist Zoe Nadel often begins her days with a journey through her own backyard. It's one of her most precious natural creations. It provides peace and comfort, inspiration and motivation.
The garden became a way for me to channel some of my thoughts into my paintings. My walks back there are very meditative. I look at the color of the light in the morning. The color of the light on a tree at sunset is just exquisite. And that all works its way back into my paintings.
A lightning-scarred sapling still has life in Zoe's garden. It's another medium for sculpture. And a handful of twigs from an ornamental shrub provide ample materials for her next work of art. Not only did she design her spacious studio, the entire house has her creative touch as well. Some fallen sassafras branches were perfect for window treatments, along with a few goose feathers for a natural Native American look.
You can see here in the house, when a tree, a beautiful sassafras tree, died, I made curtain rods out of it. I wanted to remember that tree. It was outside my studio.
You might call it recycling, repurposing, or reclaiming. Zoe calls it art, and you'll find it throughout her works. Actually, her artistic journey began with a class taught by a neighbor.
She decided to get together some housewives and teach in her garage. I didn't go. I was too scared, too shy. And then I saw what my neighbor did, and that really motivated me because I said, oh, if she can do that, I can do that. And truthfully, I opened up a tube of paint and my life changed forever. I burned dinner. The laundry didn't get done. I just was totally consumed with it.
Working with clay was her first love. Then she found something magical about watercolors, which seemed to fascinate her. It led Zoe to the next leg of her artistic travels.
I started out actually with clay. Loved working slab construction. I wasn't into the wheel. And then I switched to watercolor. And I was a watercolor painter for at least 20 years. And then out of that, I grew into acrylics, oil, and collage mixed media.
These are her works today. It's a multi-step process that results in some imaginative collage creations.
And it started because I would look at a painting, I did, and it wasn't working, so I tore it up. And I reassembled it, and I liked reassembling. I think this goes back to being a child who loved doing puzzles. I like to fit things together. So my attitude is, if it doesn't work one way, tear it up and try it another way and paint on top of it. So that's how the journey evolved. The next thing I knew, I was doing a lot of collage work and painting my own papers.
Of course, she recycles the scraps from her collage work. Zoe calls them complicated papers. Even the dried paint on her tabletop palette becomes art in a wonderfully whimsical way.
So at the end of the day, I would have a lot of color down on my glass table, which is my palette. And next day I would come in, mist it, and start scraping it to clean the palette. And then one day I looked down and it wasn't garbage, it was beautiful. I jokingly called them paint poops, and I have a trademark on the paint poops now.
And to demonstrate her patience as an art instructor, Zoe invited me to try my hand at the poop palette.
You don't scrape it, just kind of looking for
Fold
some.
it over.
You like some lighter in there. I think a little green would work well.
You having fun?
This is great fun, very therapeutic.
She had to take a detour along her picturesque path when she was diagnosed with cancer. But Zoe's a strong person, and art has been a part of her survival therapy. A while cancer was the so-called critic in size.
And I think that's something we are as adults. We have this perfectionist or the inner critic. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me was when I had cancer, and in my recovery, learned to tell the inner critic, walk out of the room.
Not only has it worked for Zoe, she even inspired me to sign my very first paint poop.
Now, Zoe calls this recycled materials, and I might call it something different, but I'm going to sign it.
But the story, for me as the painter, it's the journey into the painting. If the story comes out of that, it's up to the viewer.
But it's up to Zoe to choose her next direction. And while she says the word destination is not in her vocabulary, it's nice to stop along the way and reflect on just how far she's traveled.
Eleanor Roosevelt says, do one thing every day that scares you. I think I do. A great friend and professor that I had said, Zoe, keep surprising yourself. So I do.